My name is Mary. I'm 34 years old and I live in Montreal. And this is my journey to opening a coffee shop. My family and I moved here when I was 13 years old from Kuwait. And God bless his soul, I don't know what my dad was thinking when he moved us here, because it's like an entirely French city and none of us speak French. Because of that, growing up here has been very challenging and at times painful. I never quite picked up the French language because I have a learning disability, and the academic process was always a traumatic one. But the city really doesn't care about that. You're either in or you're out. And I've been on the outs for a really long time. But here I am, very determined to make it on the inside, and I'm about to launch my own business as an entirely English-speaking resident in a French city. Wish me luck. So one of the most important things for a coffee shop is like location, 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 location. So I went downtown looking for a location. Hi, Albert?
Hi, are you Mary?
Yes, I am.
Hi, how are you? I'm Ralph.
Oh, you're Ralph, okay.
Yeah, you're looking for Albert?
Yes.
Oh, is that? Okay, 1 second.
You look perfect now. Let me put some blush on you. Actually, you've got
Albert,
natural
I have
rosy
natural
cheeks.
blush and they call me baby face. You got the cutest looking baby face.
So I'm supposed to meet this guy named Albert to show us the spot. And when we arrived there, he introduces himself as Ralph. So I'm thinking I'm talking to a completely different person. Is it Albert that I get in touch with?
That's me.
But later on, he says he is Albert. I thought you said
I'm Albert.
I thought you said your name was
Ralph. No, that was just a joke.
Oh, you were joking. And I'm thinking, did you just like misintroduce yourself? Like, man, you really threw me off all this time. I'm like, I thought I was speaking to somebody else. Okay.
Look, it would be no fun if it was just hi, I'm Albert.
And apparently so. He thought it was funny. He thought it was a joke. So I guess that's his sense of humor. Ha ha. Do you have any kind of statistics in terms of like number of foot traffic and that kind of?
We haven't gone into the specifics. I'm sure that if you went into the internet and looked up, Peel, not Peel, but rather Crescent, they probably have some statistics.
Really? Look on the internet?
And also, don't go too much into the details or the measuring the number of steps and all that, even though that's important.
My biggest fear is actually construction. That's my biggest fear. There's so many
You mean by the construction
like
here?
mine that
But like I told you, they already had some construction here
on this block specifically. Did they change the water pipes here?
Well, I guess so, when they had the construction. And what you can do also is maybe check and see with the city.
Yeah, for sure. I'm doing
Call
that.
the city and ask them if...
I'm not really sold on this location, or this agent for that matter. So I'm gonna move on. Pass.
All right, so this is 5,000 square feet of raw space. We call it in shell condition. So you are pretty much allowed to do a lot of things you want. But like I was explaining to you on the phone, like we have somebody that is interested in about 4,000 square feet or so. So you would, like the 1,000 square feet I was telling you would be from here to like going backward there.
I like this girl. She seems very competent. I'm excited about this one.
The only thing is right over there, once you go up the stairs, it's going to be a little bit smaller because it depends on how you want to finish it. Yeah.
Is this what you were talking about?
Yeah. So once you go up there, you have an actual exit door to a private terrace, which is pretty cool.
This is, hold on, I'm just trying to imagine it. This is really nice space.
It really depends on the person's imagination, but I find it very useful.
It would
especially
work
for a coffee shop.
So how much of this is?
Everything, all the way up till the fence.
So you said I can go all the way
Up to the fence.
The fence, like the thing.
The gray fence, yeah, exactly. Because also, like, you can use this as your alley to bring in your product. It will be easier.
Can cars come in here?
All the way back here. For delivery, yeah, but I don't think you're allowed to park here.
Question: Did they change the pipelines here? Do you know? I mean, that's such a big factor for us, right? If they dig up in front of here, then it would be a.
For now,
It's already a little bit for me like iffy because there's construction happening down there with the new building that they're putting.
It's construction everywhere in Montreal.
Montreal is like the construction capital of the world, and it makes finding a good location like a gazillion times more challenging. The city just pops a construction site right in front of your place of business with not much care. I mean, I get it. Montreal is like 400 years old and we have to update our infrastructure. But as a new business, as a new small business, I can't afford to have cranes or turned over roads in front of my shop. I mean, I really have to do my research to make sure I get this right.
People who are living here, they have better revenues. They're mostly, majority of them are students slash young professionals, exactly. They like to have, like, outgoing and stuff like that, and that's one of the reasons they're moving into downtown, right? This is like heart of downtown. Yeah. So that's something to consider, I guess.
I really like the space.
Well, then make an offer tomorrow.
You're laughing, but I'm actually really thinking about it.
Sounds good.
You know, it's one of those situations where, like, I just started looking for location, and it's like, you know, when you find something right away, it's like, but I need to look more because you feel like you haven't looked long enough.
Yeah.
But I've also learned through experience that sometimes good things can come your way right away, not be able to circle back to them. So I'm in that place where I've been on both ends of it. So I'm like, oh, this is the first place I'm looking at. Like, really? Like, I probably should have not showed her the excitement that I was experiencing with that location because it really kind of took away negotiating power from me and put the ball in her court.
If you take it here, I'm hoping for like lifetime free coffee, maybe. No, I'm just kidding.
We'll see about that. I gotta pay rent.
Okay, sounds good. I'll leave big tips. Sounds good.
Okay, awesome. All right, well, thank you.
It's my pleasure, and good luck with your search. And I'll be waiting for your phone call.
Yeah, thank you. All right, take care. As soon as I left, I couldn't contain my excitement. So I called my parents to tell them about this location I just saw. They're a big part of my journey in starting this coffee shop. Hi, Daddy.
Hi, بابا.
چطوری؟
های مادر چطوری دخترم؟
OMG. یه لوکیشنی پیدا کردم خیلی قشنگه. داونتاون، وسط همه چیز. لوکیشنش جدیده، ساختمونش جدیده، ساختمون کاندوه. خب جدیده، همه تازه دارن وارد میشن.
الان دیدینو تازه دیدیش؟
یه همین الان از اونجا اومدم بیرون.
خب این هنوز تحقیقاتتو نکردی به قول من.
از چه نظر؟
پرسجو ببینی حالا نظر بخوای از دو نفر از همون کسی که برات
یک جای خیلی یعنی واضحیه که برای مثلا انگار که مثلا توی My parents and I always had this fantasy of opening a cafe. It's a place that we go to catch up and have some heartfelt conversations. They're a big part of why I started this journey. They've been my sounding board, my support, and really inspiration throughout this whole entire process.
And that's Lucifer. He's actually not that evil. Okay, so I invited you guys here because I really need help with thinking outside the box. I've spent the last few months trying to develop a concept for a coffee shop. And the one thing I haven't come up with is a coffee shop name.
So I organized this wine and cheese evening to kind of brainstorm ideas for a coffee shop name. But before we start the process, we kind of have to set up this mental framework that we can think within in order to feel inspired and brainstorm ideas.
So the framework that we're gonna think doing this brainstorming session is progressive, unique, local, and transparent.
So, for 1 minute, it's gonna go fast, I'm telling you. Just like shake our brains and start dancing.
Get busy, bitch.
It's funny when you put your mind at work and actually really start thinking about things within sort of like a structured process that you can actually come up with a whole bunch of ideas that you didn't think of. You just need to put pen to paper and get the right mindset going.
Okay, coffee shop, I like it. For the record, that's never gonna be the name of my coffee shop.
Is that Joy, but the O is gonna be your coffee shop? Oh! That's all I have.
It's Heaven's Café. Heaven's Café.
Oh wow. Okay, those are some great ideas. So what's the next step?
Everyone writes down 10 names, and we have 5 minutes to do so.
Mic drop.
Drop
Bang.
mic.
Sharpie drop.
Drop the mic.
Sharpie drop.
So everyone passes their sheet of paper to the next person on your right. The goal here is really to build on the ideas that you're getting from your
Ooh.
from your friend.
I like my list. It's very beautiful.
All right, so we'll get to a voting. So if you can just have your circled names in a separate post-it, we'll put it on the wall again, and then we'll vote after that. So we have 4 here. So we have this one, Java Lava is one of the favorites. We have Joy, we have Sip, Lova Cup or Lava Cup?
Lova.
Lova Cup?
Like I'd love a cup.
I'd love, oh.
That's a good one.
I'd love a cup.
That's a good one.
Do you love a cup? Yes.
Who knew coming up with a name for your business was actually so challenging? But I'm building a brand that is meant to be memorable and comforting. So coming up with a name that is representative of that, that's unique and easy to remember is really important. And it's actually a whole process.
Do you have a favorite out of all of them?
Sip.
Okay.
Wow. That
Sip's
was very
good.
instinctual.
See?
Sip. That's it.
That's it.
I think sip it
Well,
is.
why do we have to choose one? This is nerve-wracking.
Yeah, it's a lot of pressure.
I don't know, but for now.
For today.
For today.
You're here.
I actually really like Sip Café, but it's not easy to make a decision, especially since someone always disagrees with you. But that's where you really have to be confident in yourself and trust that you're making the right choice, and take a decision and move forward. That can ultimately be really stressful, and it often really leaves me feeling lonely. I've worked really hard to sort out all the clutter in my head, put it down on paper, turn it into a business plan, but it just feels like it's not enough. It just feels like I haven't done all my research. So I decided to meet with this business coach that can kind of validate whether I'm on the right path or not and help me get through this hump and support me through the process.
I'm opening a coffee shop, or I'm trying to open a coffee shop.
Excellent.
Started off with a business plan. It's like 118 pages. Your business
plan is 118 pages?
Yeah.
Your business plan doesn't have to be 118 pages by any means.
This is for myself. I put a lot of notes in my business plan that kind of gives me advice on how to actually do things.
Okay.
So it's like if you're getting a location, these are the things to do to look for when you're looking for a location.
So it's more than a business plan.
It's kind of like a guidebook or a how to do book, that sort of thing. I did like a bit of a competitive analysis, market research. I think I kind of put that in there so it doesn't. For our purposes here, I just put that in there so I don't. So you know that we've sort of done our market research. I don't know how much of that you want to look at.
I find it very difficult to make projections because you're pulling numbers out of the sky, basically. Although you did a lot of research and counting.
Yeah.
Very good. But an easier way to look at projections is to go backwards from your break even. So if you know that these are your operating expenses every month, how many cups of coffee do you have to sell, basically, in a month?
Yeah, so we're setting up targets in order to make sure that we're covering our break even point. But all of this is so much easier said than done.
Oh yeah, projections are really, really, it's a bit of magic, really.
I already feel better talking to her. Doing projections for a business that you've never done is really difficult. And it's the first thing people ask to see when you say you're starting a business. So it's nice to hear Ruchi's thoughts on that.
That's one of my questions, actually. How do I minimize my risks? If it doesn't work out, what do I do?
Entrepreneurship is synonymous with risk to begin with. And some people metabolize risk a little bit better and some people don't. But again, something you can learn as well. Because there is an adrenaline rush, isn't there?
There was at the beginning, but now that I'm a lot more into it, there's not so much adrenaline rush, more like I'm very stressed and do I even want to do this anymore?
Yeah. What you've done, from what I see, you've done a lot of research, minute research, which is great. But also you want to shield yourself from kind of getting lost in the details so much.
Yeah.
Because your laptop, your computer, is a defense mechanism at some point. Instead of launching, we are perfecting, right?
Yeah.
So we over-perfect, we over-evolve before we launch.
I guess Albert or Ralph or whatever his name is actually had a point. He also did say not to do so much research, so maybe I'm just freaking out for nothing.
So one theory could be to just jump. So you have no choice. So I'll give you a personal example. I probably spent 6 months too much researching on my laptop in my room for my business. Instead, I could have cut that down and just launched. Started buying raw materials, started doing research development, started testing, started giving things away. Commit. Because if you think that you're going to minimize your risk by doing so much research, you won't. You won't.
Really? Because that's what I hope that would be the answer.
There's going to be a limited return on the research at one point. And at one point, you need to jump.
Yeah.
I've wanted to be an entrepreneur all my life. My father was the first in his family to make it big, and I'm next in line to carry our family's name forward in this entrepreneurial path that he's helped me build. So here I am. I've done my research. I've written up this business plan. I've consulted with professionals who will be there to mentor me through this process. This is my moment. This is it. Let's jump. I met up with a friend of mine, Susie, who might possibly be interested in collaborating with me in this coffee venture. And we hit town to learn more about Montreal's coffee scene.
I kind of know what I'm doing, but just bear with me.
I'm showing Susie what I've learned so far about making coffee. It'll give her a good idea of my journey and the learning curve ahead of us. I started meeting with suppliers to see how we can create our menu while working with local businesses. So everything from donuts to salads to kombuchas.
It's not as bad as I thought.
Yeah.
It's great.
I love Montreal, I love coffee shops, and I love being an entrepreneur. But I've never started a business in this city or in this industry for that matter. So here goes nothing.